I think that kind of comes with time and honing your craft and understanding like who you are as an entertainer, because you can always have that mask. For the longest time, I always wanted to like separate who like Tim and Darkness429 were. I never wanted them to be the same person. So like my level of vulnerability, if you will, of like what I was willing to express to people and what I was willing to share with them was very different versus how I am now. I'm a much different person. I have a son, like he's 5 years old, and so I see myself as a much softer person than I was 5 years ago. The way that I look at life and the way that like I see my experiences versus how I would have said them like 8 years ago, completely different. And so like, yeah, I think like streaming can be that depending on the entertainer that you're watching. You know, you could have a lot of there's three different types of streamers. I think you can really categorize them into three different slots. You have your highly competitive entertainer. You have your very competitive. They focus on playing the game. They focus on playing it well, but they won't read their chat. They won't pay attention to what's going on, but they're really damn good at what they do. And then like maybe every once in a while they'll thank for donos and things like that. And then you have the person who's highly engaged, who's extremely funny, who can just make just owns the room, but's terrible at video games. And then you have the in between. You have the person who can be like semi-competitive, but isn't like able to make it a pro. And then you have the person who can be like, they can own the room and they can drive a conversation, but they might not be the funniest person in the room. Like, I think honestly, that's the most dangerous streamer. That's the person who can go the furthest in their careers because they're able to balance both of those things out. I think that's always the biggest thing. Like, I think that I look for with content creators and even just like as myself is the authenticity and being authentic to your audience, I think is really important. It might, and I don't think a lot of people see it that way. I think like there are people that see it that way, but it's also something that's kind of just like overlooked because it isn't what drives the money.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that a number of the sort of clickbait artists, I can't imagine that they're full-time clickbait artists. Like they can't honestly believe all the
it's gonna be exhausting.
How can you be angry that much all the time?
I don't know.
Just take a nap.